Okay guys, in this video we're just going to be comparing three different cameras. Those cameras are going to be the Canon R8, the Canon R7 and the Sony a7 IV. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so like we just mentioned, we are going to be reviewing three different cameras today. Those cameras are going to be the Canon R8, the Canon R7 and the Sony a7 IV, or IV if you like using Roman numerals. So let's dive straight into it and start talking about the Canon R8. So why is the Canon R8 better than the other two? Well, to start off with, it has more focus points. Now, the more focus points, the more flexibility in picking which part of the scene to focus on. They also give the image sensor a better probability in identifying the right area of the scene to focus on in more automatic modes. So that's really important there. Now, another thing that you may want to take note of is it's quite a bit lighter than the other two, only coming in at 461 grams. So the Canon R8 is a really good camera. Now let's move on to the Canon R7. So why might you want to pick the Canon R7 over the other two? Well, to start with, it has better continuous shooting at highest resolution, coming in here at 30 frames per second. And it also has something called a pixel shift shot. Now, the camera can take a series of shots, shifting through the sensor slightly with each one. These can then be combined to create an extremely high resolution image. It's particularly useful for things like photographing artwork. So if that's something that you're interested in, then the R7 might just be the way to go. But now let's move on to the Sony a7 IV. So why is the Sony a7 IV better than the other two? Well, to start with, it has a better battery, coming in at 2,280 milliamps per hour, and this is something you might want to consider here if you're on longer shoots. Now, another thing is it has a higher movie bitrate. Now, that's coming in at 600 Mbps. So if the higher the movie recording bitrate, the better the movie quality with more and crisper details and less compression artifacts. So I think if you're more of a videographer rather than a photographer, then the a7 IV might just be the way to go out of these three. However, every camera in this comparison here is absolutely fantastic, but I think if you're more of a photographer, you're probably going to be looking at the R7 or the R8, and if you're more of a videographer, you're probably going to be looking at the Sony a7 IV, but they're all fantastic and I can recommend all three.